I have other videos that are scheduled to go up before this review, but I decided that this will be moved to Friday of this week during the time of this recording because this figure is one of the figures that I've been waiting for quite some time. If you've been collecting this line, you would have seen posts regarding this figure a year back. I believe it was a year ago when there were leaks of said prototype of this Cyborg Superman. And at the time, nobody knew if it was real or fake. It looked really cool. It could have been a custom that someone made. A lot of answers that were not answered, not given. So for a good period, this particular figure was in the dark, whether it was legitimate or not legitimate. And I was hoping that it would be a legitimate figure because the sculpt work on this, from what I've seen from other videos, this thing is cool. It is very, very cool. This really takes me back to why I started collecting this line, because there's always brand new sculpts with certain figures that just make them either unique or make them stand out instead of reusing an existing body mold of some kind just to slap a figure together. Now it's here. It's in front of me. This is a legitimate figure, and it's kind of crazy that this is real. However, as you can see, this is not the Cyborg Superman that we, or any one of us who have seen Cyborg Superman, are accustomed to. We usually see the one that wears more of the traditional Superman costume and kind of like covers most of his body, and half of his face is a cyborg. This version is from the New 52. I've never seen this Cyborg Superman before. Prior to those leaks, I've never seen this version. I didn't know it was a different character because this is not, I believe his last name was Henshaw. This is not that Cyborg Superman. This is a different person inside a robotic body. And I will find out who this is when I read that bio card because I'm actually curious. I know I said I would put a contact section. I'm just too excited for this figure that I really just want to get into it and get this thing out. So I'm cutting into this box. Like, this has been something that I just waited for a long time. It's finally here, and I hope that there is no quality control issues of any kind, because that'd be very sad. I would have to get a replacement if that happens, if it's not something I can fix. So I'm gonna just start cutting into this box because I want to get this out. Now, one thing I will say about this is he doesn't have any accessories, and part of that could mainly be because the sculpt work on him is already quite impressive. But before I pull him out, as you can see the back of the box, there is this artwork that they use to kind of be like his source material. It's not the same. It does not look the same. And it looks kind of different. I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that sometimes the sculptors at Mcfarlane have a little bit of freedom of liberty to change certain things. I don't know how true that is. Maybe it is true. Why they sculpted this to look this way over this. But at the same time, I think if they included an extra head, like an alternate head, with this screaming face where his mouth is open for, like, to swap with this regular head, it would have made this figure even cooler. That is something that I do want to point out from the box art, is they could have done something like that. They didn't. And the platinum version is literally just a repaint to look more like the traditional colors of the Superman costume. So yeah, there's a lot of differences. There's more blues on this artwork, and so I don't know what happened here with the sculpt and then the figure, but that don't matter. Regardless of how it came out, it still looks cool. So I need to get this guy out of his prison. We're pulling everything out. We are pulling everything out. Oh. One thing I will say is that I do like the smell of new figures. I need to take a sniff of this thing because there's something about new action figures that always has this new smell to it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's that smell. Yep, there's that smell. There he is in his prison, plastic prison. I'm going to cut the knots, but while I do, I got to do it behind the camera because this thing looks like a pain to remove. It is quite interesting that something that at the time was leaked pretty early surprised a lot of people. I mean, I was surprised too, because when you see images of things that just stand out, it really does create this excitement that you never you don't have all often, right? So I've never been more hyped for a figure. It's kind of been a while. The last time I was hyped for any figure was probably sometime last year, so it's been a while since there's been any figure that's come out from this line that just made me really want it right away. Some figures I just decide to just wait on because I don't need it right now, and you can tell that it could probably go on clearance down the road and you can get it for less. This guy kept selling out, and funny enough, I expected him to be delayed because Amazon's been having delays for certain figures that are up for pre-order. And this was one of those that I thought, they didn't delay it at all. Because the Tim Drake Robin, that new one with the wired cape, I was supposed to get him at the beginning of this month. He never showed up because I got an email saying requests for delivery, some sort of delay. So that was something that I didn't expect to happen, but it did. So, which is kind of sad. Okay, I got him out of the box. I'm trying to straighten up his legs. He feels very, I don't know how to say this. He feels very loose in some areas. I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe it's because he was in the box the whole time. I'm trying to straighten things out, kind of. He doesn't feel like he's really hard to pose around, but let me put him on the table. Let me see if he can stand. I don't even know if he can stand. I think he can stand. I haven't. Oh. There we go. He can stand. No, he can't. He fell over his legs. I'm not used to these. I'm not used to posing him yet. I haven't figured out how he will pose. Will he fall again? I don't know. Okay. If he does fall over, then he does. Okay, I'm trying to rip out the card now. If you want to get the card out. He does come with a flight stand, which is nice. Always nice to get said card stand for an action figure that flies. In this case, he does fly. So there's that. I do want to move all the trash out of the way. Okay. Includes a flight stand that you can assemble. That's cool. And then this is the bio card. So I'm going to read the back because I'm kind of curious to see what this is about. So his real name is Zor-El. It says, after Flashpoint, Superman's uncle Zor-El escaped Krypton's destruction thanks to Collector of Worlds Brainiac. Subjected to cybernetic augmentations that designed his personality, Zor-El became Cyborg Superman, Brainiac's scout for a stronger species in the universe. He attempted to conquer Earth, battling Superman and his own daughter, Kara Zor-El, but somehow escaped the black hole doom that befall Brainiac. Also surviving the Rebirth event, Cyborg Superman reanimated the dead Kryptonians of Argyle City and again attacked Earth only to be defeated by Supergirl and Superman. That's a very interesting version of the character. I mean, so it's Supergirl's dad as Cyborg Superman, which is not something I expected. Cool. So, I mean, this design looks so cool as well. Wow. Just the cape is not a new cape, though. I will say this. This cape is a reuse of the Superman cape. They just put battle damage holes onto it. It's the same on the Action 1000. This is the same cape. But it's not a bad cape. I don't know if my camera's going to pick this up. There's so much, like... There's like a wash that they did over the logo and certain places on this figure to give it like this darkened look. Like he's been... Almost as if he's been battling all these people. Or, you know, doing whatever he's doing. And he just looks like he's warned. However, there are certain areas on this figure, such as the gray parts of his chest, like right here, that can benefit from metallics. The moment I saw this guy, I knew that if I just added a little bit of metallic paint to certain spots, it would definitely look better. But maybe the choice for why they did it this way is to make it look like he's, you know, he's been out there. He's not shiny anymore, right? On top of that, that hand. Wow, that is such a... This is such a cool arm. It is so different. It is it's kind of loose. I don't know if I like that. Maybe it's just my copy of the figure, but I mean, at least it's not hard to move his arms. The fingers don't move, unfortunately. There's no articulation on the fingers. There's zero articulation on the fingers. It's kind of sad. But the hands do rotate. So there's that. This is a crazy looking arm. Like this looks like something, and again, this goes back to I'm gonna bring in a figure that looks like he fits the theme of this. Because this is a cyborg, right? There is a figure that I have not reviewed yet or talked about. It's not a new figure, but he is in the theme of a cyborg. If you know who Jokerbot is, these two go together pretty good. Like, they look like they could come out of the same storyline where, I don't know, some crazy robot just created all these cyborg versions of like the superhero characters and to wreak havoc or do something evil. And this figure gives off those vibes. Even though he's Cyborg Superman, he fits well with a lot of other cyborg characters you have on your shelf that are supposed to be evil, if you want to do something like that. So that's what you can do with your Jokerbot, if you have one. I mean, they go good together. They look like they could pair together really well, for the villain shelf. On top of that, you have all this nice sculpted detail, like the under parts of his neck. Yeah, look at all that. Like, you see that his mouth, like, my camera's not so good, but From where I'm seeing it, his mouth is painted better. Like there's like the shine on it, and then all the paint on the neck is just more dull plastic where it isn't as shiny or chromed. And the arms are the same too. They have like more of a shinier gray than the body. And surprisingly, his chest is very loose on mine, but it can go up and down like this really easily, and it doesn't like, it's not like completely floppy. Sometimes certain figures can be like that. His butterfly joints, however, not a fan of how loose those are. Sometimes they can be very annoying just being loose, when you're just messing around with it. And you can see like there's that paint difference, and it just looks weird, right? Like this is all shinier, and this is all just regular gray. So with like a metallic marker or metallic paint, you can make it all match if you just like paint it or color it in right, if you do some custom work to it. But if you do like that more faded out look, it's not a bad thing. And then this arm right here, he's using a similar joint that exists on a couple other figures. The first figure I've seen this arm joint from is from Mr. Freeze, the comic version. It's really interesting because there's also a rotation, I believe, in that joint. Yeah, kinda. I don't have my Mr. Freeze on me, but if I did, I would definitely show that. Maybe in another future video when I get to him. But yeah, that's that arm joint. And then his legs. There's so much texture. But again, there are certain, like, it looks nice, but because it's all blue and only a couple places are like red, and then the faded out black ink that you could see is like, my camera's not really picking it up completely, but it looks like it could benefit from some work. It really does, because all these sculpted pieces are so blend together with, with this one color that from a distance, I mean, you can't really see the details. It looks so plain. But then when you look in closer to it, you're like, wow, there's so much sculpt going on. But it's all covered up by the same color. And that's the part that sucks. It's like, so, however, I'm not going to doubt the flaws of this figure. Like, I mean, there are flaws. It's not going to be perfect. But nevertheless, I'm still happy about this figure being a real thing. And hey, if I got to put some work into it to make it look nicer, that's no problem, because that's the fun part about doing custom sometimes, is if you have fun customizing a figure that you like, that you really just want popping out on your shelf. And this is one of those figures that I will definitely try to add some metallics into even the blue areas to make it look like he's not all just blue in those spots. So there's that. And then for the back side of him, again, very plain, almost plain gray. But yeah, like, do you see that spinal cord thing on him? Like, if you painted that so metallic, it could probably stand out too. There's so much details on here that are sculpted that are just not utilizing the paint. Now, the platinum version is where I believe the opposite happens, where every area on this figure that are dull gray is painted with that nice metallic look, because it's a platinum chase, so of course it has to look better. Otherwise, what's the incentive of looking for it, right? And then his boots are red to, recreate the Superman costume with the red boots, right? So that's what the platinum version of this thing is. So, wow, I don't know what else to say about this. This is like the first review where I just don't even know what else to say. It just looks impressive. Like, sculpt-wise, it is a new sculpt. I don't think any of these parts are reused. Not that I'm aware of. Like, I haven't seen any, like, besides that joint on the arm that I'm talking about, everything else seems like it's, oh, and the cape. Everything else seems to be new. I think it's only the cape and a few joints that are reused, but everything else is new. And this is something that the last time I saw brand new sculpts this year was the Page Puncher line for the Ghost of Krypton. I haven't seen anything else after that, so wow, it's just okay. I want to get into articulation because articulation is where we can find out how this guy poses. So I want to start with the legs. His legs can spread out pretty good. It looks like it can spread out with no issues. He can kick out pretty good. That's a good kick. Not better than some figures. Some figures can't even kick out that much. So there is no rotation in the thighs, the upper thighs. So there's that. And then he should be able to double joint. Let me just, yeah, that's a double jointed leg right there. I mean, that's okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for a Cyborg. Now, for his feet, they are reusing ball pegs. So he's not using the sculpted pegs that he usually does for a lot of figures now. That's a ball peg. I think it's okay because he's a robot. But the leg doesn't really, like, kick out too much. Or that joint. It does go back a little bit, and then that's how much it goes. And then it does have a rocker, I think. I don't know. Actually, I could rotate. That toe articulation, though. Damn. that looks kind of funny. So the same thing with the other leg. The other leg can kick out as well. So both legs can do the same thing. Can he go back? I mean, he can go back a little bit, but you see that front part, there's going to be a gappage right there. So there's that. As for his body, torso, that is a lot of range. It's very loose on mine, but not like the bad kind. It feels very rubbery. Holding this thing, a lot of the pieces feel very, like, I don't know if rubbery is the right word, but it's like that soft plastic that just feels kind of like it's rubber. So he can crunch a little bit, not completely, but he can crunch. Well, he can go back all the way. So if you need him to go back a little bit all the way, kind of, I mean, there you go. So there's that upper one, and then the bottom piece, I believe, rotates. Oh yeah, that wow. Usually, a lot of times, new figures tend to be very stiff in a lot of areas. And you won't get this kind of range of motion if you don't heat it up or do some sort of I think it's mainly just heating it up, right? This guy is just loose everywhere. But it's not like the bad kind, where it just feels like, oh, it's too loose. Let me fix this. But yeah, that is impressive, actually. I am kind of surprised. Arms can go all the way. Can also go up. This joint can also do double joint. The arms feel loose, very loose. I don't know if I like that, but at least they can bend. You got a ball joint right here for his fist hands. That can go. Yeah, that joint can also move. So there's that. And then for the main big arm, this got rotation up here with the shoulder thing, just like over here. I hope I'm showing this correctly. Yeah, there we go. And then this arm, it will get hindered by those sharp claw things that you see on his arm. So the claw arm is not going to be able to lift up completely correctly. So there's that. But for his for this regular arm, single jointed. However, this single jointed arm does not have a rotation cut. So that is kind of a bummer. Usually most figures do. This one, I don't think has it. No, it does not. And then for his head, it can look up pretty good, so you can get him into a fly pose. he can look down really good. And then he can also rotate his head side to side. This figure is so loosed everywhere. It is really weird. Like it's so, maybe because of the heat, because this thing, was in a hot car for like a while before it got to my place. So who knows? Maybe that did something. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But wow, this is a figure that I will definitely try to do some work on to make it look cool. But as it is by itself, it still looks very nice. It is worth the pickup if it doesn't have any quality control issues of any kind. For me, I haven't noticed any quality control issues with the articulation. I mean, you could say the looseness is maybe a problem, but I guess for me it's like kind of a bonus because everything's looser, so I don't have to heat anything up, and it's not the bad kind of looseness. So I'll take it. I will take this. So I don't know what else to say about this guy. I really don't. I've never been so excited for something in a while, but this figure is definitely a contender for one of my favorites for 2024. I don't know what other figure can kind of, I guess the Nightfall Bane, it could be up there. Everyone has their preferences of which figure they like. I got mine, so this is definitely one of them. So, and with that, I think this can wrap up this review. Wow, it went from a prototype and now it's real. Now it's legit. That is how you surprise everybody. Hopefully down the line, though, we do get that regular Cyborg Superman. I have a feeling that version will be a collector's edition because it's a no-brainer to lock certain figures as a collector's edition for him, I guess. I mean, if you look at the two kind of big reveals, Huntress is also collector's edition, so, and then that Green Lantern, Alien Green Lanterns finally, that's also collector's edition. So yeah, there's a lot of figures that can be collector's edition. I don't know if that's always a good thing, but it seems like that's how it's going to be going forward. And it seems like the solo line, which used to be the $19 line, is now gonna stay going for designs like this, where it's not the classic design, it's like this one-off design that probably showed up once or twice. That's where the solo line, I think, is just gonna stay for now. So, but if they do make a Cyborg Superman from that version, I will definitely pick that up. Hopefully it looks good like this one, because right now, say what you need to say, but this is a really cool design. I don't know if any other companies have made this design. I don't think so, but yeah, this one, this one's so good. Sorry for the rambling. I love to ramble in my videos a lot, so this is why they end up being so long. But if you enjoy this video, please like or sub. You don't have to do any of those, but if you want to, that would be very helpful and appreciative. So with that, I will see you next time.